What's up YouTube, I'm just another guy and welcome back to Gibraltar United. So here we are, the end of season review and update thing. So in another groundbreaking year for us where we progressed further than we ever had before. We put in a great performance in the knockout round. And over even in the groups, we put in a decent shift, to get third in a group that contained three very good teams in their leagues. And they're from their own individual leagues and countries and stuff. We can't be too disappointed with ourselves. But yeah, it was another really good year in Europe. Like I say, we set new records. We, reached or set new standards for ourselves that we have to try and beat going into next year. So, a little bit of news first surrounding the club. We're going to go into the finances to do, boardroom to do this, sorry. New stadium, nothing has happened yet. Basically, the completion date has been set back another year while the planning period continues on for another season or until whenever, until the planning period's done. Now, something I was told about and something I've also looked up is that there is a bug surrounding building new stadiums. People have stated that buildings have been in the planning permission or planning stages for a very long time, and in fact some people say that they get to the point where they actually can't even build a new stadium because planning continuously goes on. Now, I hope that doesn't happen to me, and I don't really know, what could get the stadium being built. Like I say, it's a planning period. You don't actually get a choice, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know. When you go to build a new stadium, it's just sort of pot luck. You don't get to choose how big you'd like the stadium. You don't get to choose, if it's all seating or not. You don't get any real option. You don't get any input whatsoever when it comes to building a new stadium. It quite literally is, the board's decision. So like I say, I've got no idea when planning will finish. I've no idea when building will start to commence with the actual stadium itself. But it's been a year, and when you consider the fact that in real life, people like Spurs and I believe Liverpool have been both trying to get new stadiums, and I believe Spurs have just, of course, they had the big legal debate with the Olympic Stadium, of course, with West Ham and other things. Tottenham, I believe, just got planning permission. Tottenham, that was it. Tottenham just got a legal document that allows them to, or which basically states that the only company left in the area that they want to build their new stadium has to sell the business to Tottenham so that they can destroy and demolish all the buildings that are currently in the area and build their new stadium. So it does, and Spurs have been wanting a new stadium for quite a few years now. So it does take a while to get a new stadium, so I'm not too worried. I'm sure it will still happen, but it's been held back another year minimum. We've got new training facilities though being built. They'll be complete on the 24th of November, which is nice because as a club, if we go into our facilities, you see that we've already got impressive training facilities. And a little way you can sort of, if you didn't know, there's a little way you can check your actual star rating for your training facilities, and it is on wait, I'm on the right place. Yeah, it's on this screen. As you can see down here, training facilities are 3.5 star, so that should push them up, I believe, to maybe 4 star. So we're going to be touching the top end of training facility quality soon. So that's that's great. It not only does new training facilities help develop our players better, of course, but it also improves your reputation. And of course, we need to grow as a reputation to attract better players and overall improve the league and other things. So yeah, that's it's good to get that underway. I'm not building anything else. I'm sort of wondering, I don't think I can actually choose to build a new youth facility this season. No parent club or anything yet, so yeah, there's nothing really else I want to build. But yeah, that's just a little bit about the club. We'll actually have a little look at the general thing right here. No one's been added to the Legends list. We've had Sonogo, Sidibe and Carlos put into the icons list since I believe I last saw you. And as you can see, we've got a few favourite personnel. The other 3 strikers, we'll see if they jump up to there, and we'll see if Sidibe or Sonogo manage to get to the Legends list soon. Because currently we have 3 ex-players who have all retired from football now, and then we've got these 2 African players and stuff. So who have been so crucial in the past few years for the club. So it'd be nice for them to actually get to the Legends list because they have played such a massive role. But yeah, that's just surrounding the club. So, going to briefly touch on Gibraltar, the national team now. Still no news there in terms of manager. Squads are still being selected by the assistant manager. He is yet to actually win a game since taking charge. In fact, he's only scored 2 goals since taking charge of the club. He He lost 2-1 to Finland, where he scored with Amari, and Malcolm Robinson scored recently in a 3-1 defeat to Georgia. But he's losing to teams like Hong Kong and Chinese Taipei. I think I said that right. And these are teams national teams that we should be beating. So, yeah, it's a little bit worrying. I really do want to take over there soon. European qualifiers are coming up soon, so hopefully they'll employ someone new then, and then hopefully it'll be me. Also, another quick thing I want to mention, because I saw it, Dan Morgan is now retired. He retired due to the fact that he couldn't get himself a club team. He's now head of youth development, and I have no real interest in signing him as a head of youth development for us. Just not really a good one. But yeah, it's sad to see that another quality player who could have easily have had 3-4 more years in his playing career has had to cut it short because no one was interested in signing him, which again really confuses me and frustrates me. And it's another challenge for this thing. If I release, say, if Amari were to leave the side, which he actually does want to kind of do, no one would come after him. He'd probably end up retiring from football altogether at the age of 27, 28, and then that hinders the national team because Amari is probably the best player the national team currently has. But yeah, anyway, let's go into the team now. So competitions-wise, we won everything, as you would expect. We won the Pepe Reyes Cup, the Premier Cup, the Rock Cup, and the league. We were undefeated in the league, only drawing one game all season long. We conceded 6 goals as well, which I'm not too sure is our best record. I don't think it is, because I don't think we set any records this year. We conceded 5 a few years back. But it was just, it was a really incredible year for us. As you see, 2 people got relegated, Gibraltar Phoenix and Glacis United, or Glacis United, I believe it's pronounced. Cannons will be coming up, which is really good. You know, they've been receiving investment from us and money from us for a while now. They're a semi-pro team, and they've just earned themselves promotion after, I believe, lingering around the top for the past year, actually. So yeah, it's nice to see that, you know, the money we feed to the smaller clubs is actually sort of seeing a benefit. Cannons are getting promoted. Leo FC, who we were affiliated with, have just survived relegation this year as well. Elsewhere, Lincoln, Britannia and Lynx will all be playing in Europe next year in the Europa League. I really do want one of them teams to go through to the next round of the competition. Ideally, it'll be Lincoln, because they are the better team out of the 2. They are the second biggest team in Gibraltar, so it'd be nice for them to actually emphasize that and go on and prove themselves in Europe. So, league reputation, how has that grown? So, we are now ranked in Europe the 49th best league in Europe. So that's good. You know, that's a good achievement, I guess. You know, we jumped up 7 places, not too far now off the that's the 2nd division of Poland, isn't it? It's the top division of Poland. So actually, yeah, there's something. We're not too far off the top division of Poland. In fact, I've not looked at where we are in terms of just top divisions. So let's unclick that and have a little look. So 11, 12, bam, bam, bam. Where are we? There we are. So we're above Republic of Ireland, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Iceland, you know, Slovenia. I don't think we'll be, you know, another good year in Europe, or another year in Europe like we've had the past 2 years, where we get to the knockout rounds and put in a decent shift. Then I'm sure we can jump above these leagues, you know, because let's face it, teams from Poland, Hungary, Cyprus and Norway, they're not getting through to the knockout rounds of the Europa League and Champions League. And if we could get one of our other teams, like I say, Lincoln, Britannia, to actually progress through to the next round of their European competition, it would help the reputation grow that little bit quicker. And, you know, that's always good. So, that's how the league has grown. Now the club has grown itself in terms of reputation. We're still only 2 stars, so we're not on that list yet. But coefficient points, we're now the 35th best team in Europe, based on coefficient points. And that's another brilliant milestone for the club and for the nation as well. To have a club as highly ranked as it is just great. We'll have 59 coefficient points going into next season. And I think that should make us a 3rd seed team. I don't really see why it wouldn't. I mean, I could see why it wouldn't. You know, if all the teams above us getting to the Champions League, of course, will be quite a low-seeded team, a 4th-seeded team. But that's going to be unlikely because there are quite a few English teams above us, and of course, only 4 getting to the Champions League. So yeah, I'm sure we'll be a 3rd-seeded team next year, which should make our progression through to a knockout round that little bit easier, and maybe even, you know, chance of getting to a 2nd knockout round a bit easier as well. I mean, a Champions League knockout round, that made more sense. I want to quickly see something as well. I just got Gibraltar, selected, which I do. Lincoln Lynx, well, actually, Lincoln Lynx and Gibraltar Phoenix all have around the same level of coefficient points, which is near non-existent. Man City as well, briefly want to mention, the team we lost to in the Europa League, ended up going on to win the competition. So, you know, and they finished second in the Premier League. Oh, no. Yeah, they finished second in the Premier League, yeah. So, you know, we can't be too disheartened the fact that we got knocked out by Man City because, you know, they were one of the best teams in Europe this year. Who actually won the Champions League, I'm not too sure. Because once I get knocked out, I don't really pay too much attention. So they didn't go on and win it. Wow, they were locked out to Monaco. That must have been one hell of a Champions League quarter-final. But Monaco actually went on to win it. So, in fact, Germany and France are having a little bit of period of dominance where actually the past 6 leagues, you know, the 6 Champions League, 3 of them have been won by French teams. So, you know, England had that little spell here. But it's been mostly Germany and France these past few years. You know, Bayern Munich, PSG, Schalke, PSG, Juve, and Monaco. And even PSG got to the final in that 2028 year. So it's France are definitely a strong nation right now, with PSG and Monaco leading the way. So let's go into nations, because we have actually grown. You know, we've actually leaped forward a little bit. I just want to see nations coefficient. We are 54th. Where's Crimea? I guess they don't exist no more. I don't know where they've gone. They're normally on that list. But yeah, qualification places, we have actually increased. We've improved. We're ranked 23rd now in Europe for qualification places, which means not this upcoming season, but next season, we have one team entering the second qualifying round of the Europa League. Which, you know, I mentioned it before, it's not that big of an achievement because it doesn't really mean more money is coming into the league. But it's just nice to see maybe our teams will have a little bit more chance of getting to the group stages and stuff like that. But, yeah, more importantly, we're very close to maybe achieving 2 teams in the Champions League. You know, we're only a few places off of that. So, achieving some big things, and it's really good. You know, it's really nice to see that, you know, because a lot of teams have this sort of 1 team second qualifying phase, 2 to 3 teams first qualifying phase. So the fact that we're no longer in that means that we are one of the better European leagues, or, you know, we produce some of the better European teams, which is always nice to be considered for. So that's all I want to talk about in terms of growth of club, I believe, and all that other stuff. I just double check quickly. I don't think there's anything else I need to mention. Everything has grown. So let's talk about the club. Let's talk about the players. So quite a few players are leaving come the end of the season, and we do need drastic reinvestment in the squad. Most importantly to me, I would say we need a new left midfielder. As you can see, first of all, Carlos and Calabrese are both leaving the side at the end of the season. I don't really want to keep them on. Also, Francois Rudot is leaving. Carragher is leaving. I may have to resort to loaning him back in, but because the right mid I was originally after went to PSV, so I'm not too sure there. But basically, we've got 4 players leaving, and both of our left-sided options and our only other right-sided option. But one thing I can say is Pablo dos Santos has actually improved quite a bit due to his first team exposure in the league this year and a bit last year. And I wouldn't be too, you know, I wouldn't really mind shoving him in the first squad. You know, he's a decent player. He's not incredible, but he'd do a job, I feel, out on the right-hand side. But to me, the most important positions I want to improve are left midfield and goalkeeper. I think Cox, despite putting in some good performances and keeping us in games in certain matches and stuff, he does concede quite a few sloppy goals. You know, being beaten at the near post isn't really acceptable. And I've mentioned it before. I feel like every goal he seems to concede in the Champions League is beaten at the near post. Now, I'm not sure whether that's just because of the match engine's limitations, or whether he's just not a good keeper. But I'm sure we can get one better. So to me, priority number 1 is left midfield. We do need one. El Habib Baroui is not going to be good enough going forward into the Champions League. But after that, to me, it has to be focused on a goalkeeper. I will also be keeping an open mind, though, for the right mid and striker role. I think another class striker up front with Sonogo would push us over that limit to the point where maybe our defensive troubles and defensive worries would be overcome by our brilliant attacking prowess. But that will come, of course, with a new striker. But more importantly as well, a strong midfield has to support the front too. And if we don't have a good left midfielder, then you know, the two strikers up front aren't going to get the going to get the chances to score the goal. You know, it all comes down to the midfield creating the opportunities. But yeah, the squad's pretty thin for the upcoming year. You know, we've not really got much depth. That will obviously change if we can bring in the positions that I want to bring in. We're also getting quite a few teams, quite a few players actually confirmed as homegrown this year. So as you can see, we've got Nelson Vasconcelos will officially count as a player we have developed through the youth system. Miro Giselle will also be counting this year, and also I said Billy Jones, but he's a youth prospect anyway. But yeah, these two players will both be counted as trained in club. Also, Jesse Clark is now officially trained from our youth system as well. So you know, these players, although Giselle doesn't actually have to be registered because he's under the age of 21, neither will Jesse Clark. But Vasconcelos can count as a registered player in the centre of the park and also count towards our homegrown players. So that's nice. And as you can see, at the end of next season, Armada will count, Dos Santos will count, Fofana, our backup keeper, will count as well, which means I might register him. You know, Silvio will count, Brown will count, even though he's currently out on loan at Shamrock Rovers. He's getting first team football because, of course, Shamrock Rovers play throughout the summer. So he's there for, I think, a few more months. I'm not sure when his actual contract expires there. Let's have a little look. His contract expires in the 8th, so he's back in 2 months' time. So when he comes back, he'll be coming into the squad again and playing first team football in the league matches. So, you know, he'll be registered as well. He'll count. So, you know, we're racking up the numbers now. You know, signing them youth players I did a few years ago. We're going to see them officially count as homegrown players. And those who aren't currently playing for national teams could also feature for the Gibraltar national team. Which is another part of the reason I did it in the first place, you know, so I could get the players registered for the national team and actually, you know, try and improve the quality of Gibraltar's youth players without actually having to wait for the potluck of trying to produce a good young youth player. But one good young youth player we did pick up in the last youth intake, and definitely the best player we produced, was Billy Jones. 16 years of age, goalkeeper, not got any potential on him apparently. Always got a little bit, you know, 1.5 gold star. Yeah, 1.5 gold star maybe. But his current ability is the best we've seen in a while coming for our youth system, which is a pity because it's not very good. But yeah, I'm very confident. Well, Billy Jones will probably be featuring in a few league games. I'm confident that he can be a player to be here for a few years. You know, he's 16 years of age. He's got a lot of time left to develop. It's about 8 years. So, you know, I'm going to try and expose him to as much first team football as I can, as early as I can, which will mean, obviously, like I say, in the league. He'll be getting him, and also he'll probably be on the bench in the Champions League as well. So that's just a good experience to be involved in a matchday squad. It'll boost his confidence, boost his morale, and hopefully hopefully we'll see better training input. But yeah, what else could I really talk about? I sort of flicked through the players last year, so I'm not going to go through every individual player because, you know, there's not going to be too much difference. Sinogo picked up a very long-term injury last year at the end of the season. Kept him out for 2 months, or 3 months overall. He's been out for 2 months so far. So that's it's doing a sort of it's affecting his physicals, because a torn calf will affect your physicals a little bit. So yeah, hopefully his stats don't go down too much. But he had a very solid season, Sinogo. And in fact, we've actually got some awards we can go for. I completely forgot. Awards we're handing out this year for some reason. So, and they have been for the past 2 years. So it's been a bit weird. But yeah, Pablo Dos Santos actually picked up Player of the Year, which is a good achievement for the youngster. Again, hopefully that'll boost his morale, boost his confidence and stuff. Team of the Year, we picked up a few players. You know, it's just because we don't really play consistent enough players elsewhere. That's probably why they didn't get in the team. But, you know, good to see that we're still picking up majority of the players there. Young Player of the Year went to Scott McGuinness. I'm surprised with that, considering Pablo Dos Santos is fucking 19 as well, and he could easily pick that one up. We picked up Manager of the Year. Pretty expected. Goal of the season, we didn't even pick that up. And top goal scorer went to Marcos Lopez with 15 goals in 7 league appearances, scoring equally as many as Aaron Smith, who had to get 13 appearances. And not only that, he got 4 assists as well as 15 goals, compared to Aaron Smith's 1 assist to 15 goals. And even Silvio, look, 11 goals but 9 assists, contributing more goals overall than both of these two. So, oh, well, Jason Coling. Shame he retired. Shame he wasn't really good enough to continue forward. But yeah, you know, it's been a good year. I'm still waiting on that big news for the Gibraltar national team. But yeah, you know, I can't really do anything about the national team or the stadium. But things are looking good at Gibraltar United. You know, things are continuing to progress forward, and it's about trying to go even further in Europe this year. So I'll meet you guys back in a second for the Champions League draw. We're still in the second qualifying phase, of course, so you know, we won't get to see the draw, but we'll know who we've got, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be an easy team from the first qualifying phase. All right, guys, so we know who we're playing, and it's Flamutari. I think, have we played these guys before? I feel like it's a familiar name. I feel like no, we haven't. I feel like I struggled with a name before, but yeah, we've got KS Flamutari. Valori, I think maybe pronounced, from Albania. Didn't we play a team from Albania not too long ago? God, I can't remember. The seasons blur into one when you've played this far into the game. Where are these guys from? They're from Morocco. Are these guys from Albania? No, they're from Malta. I feel like we've played a team from Albania before, but in recent years. Yeah, for these guys, Tirana, when we played them last year, they were Albanian. So playing another Albanian, we're playing, they're actually the Albanian champions, so they actually will be considered the equivalent from the team we played last year. So we'll have a look and see if they are as good. We're considered dead favourites for both. We're actually at Victoria Stadium as well for the home game. So, you know, it should be a relatively easy game. You know, that's what I'm hoping for anyway. We didn't get the team from the first qualifying phase like I wanted, but like I say, you know, we got a decent team. You know, we got an easy team to play. So next time we you back will be the Champions League second qualifying phase against a team from Albania. So until then, peace out.